All right, so getting right into it, as the days are getting shorter and the temperature is definitely dropping, let's talk about staying active during winter.
Yeah.
We've got three sources that we're going to kind of dig into today.
Okay.
A blog post called 12 Winter Workout Tips to Stay Active All Season Long.
Hmm.
We've got a news article called How to Stay Fit During Winter, 6 Simple Tips.
Okay.
And then we've got some advice from a sports medicine physician from IU Health on staying active in cold weather.
Great.
It's easy to fall into that hibernation mode when it gets cold out.
It is.
But we're going to uncover some strategies to keep that fitness momentum going all season long.
I like it.
And one of the sources mentioned this, and I thought it was pretty fascinating. 58% of people are less active in the winter.
Yeah.
So we're going to figure out how to beat those odds.
I mean, what's interesting to me is that all three sources actually go beyond just the physical benefits of staying active in winter.
Okay.
They really emphasize the mental health aspect as well.
Right.
It's not just about avoiding that, holiday weight gain. It's about combating that seasonal slump that can really drag you down.
Yeah, it's like that feeling when you just want to curl up on the couch and binge watch TV, right?
Absolutely.
But if exercise can boost my mood and fight off those winter blues, I am here for it.
Yes.
Especially knowing that it can strengthen my immune system too, which is so important during cold and flu season.
Exactly. It's like giving your body that extra layer of defense when you need it most.
That's a great way to put it. Now, you know how sometimes you can feel that afternoon slump even when you got a good night's sleep?
Yeah.
It could be a vitamin D dip that's causing that. And the sources recommend loading up on things like fatty fish and eggs because we get less sunlight in winter.
Right.
So we know staying active is super important. But where do we even begin when it's like freezing outside?
Well, its 12 winter workout tips blog post really advocates for making your home a fitness sanctuary. And before you think, I don't have room for a home gym, they emphasize that you don't need a ton of space or fancy equipment.
That's good because my apartment is not huge.
Yeah.
What kind of setup are they recommending?
They recommend dedicating a small space, even just a 6 by 6 foot area.
Okay.
And instead of bulky machines, they suggest investing in versatile equipment like resistance bands, a yoga mat, maybe some kettlebells. Things you can use for a variety of exercises without taking up a ton of space.
I like that.
They also recommend wall-mounted racks to keep everything organized.
I love that idea.
Huh.
Having a designated space and some basic equipment makes working out at home way more appealing.
Absolutely.
It's like setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
But what about those days when your motivation is just zero?
Well, that's where the combination of exercise and smart nutrition comes in.
Okay.
It's not about, restrictive dieting. It's about making choices that fuel your workouts and boost your immune system.
So what kind of smart eating strategies do they recommend, especially during the winter months?
Both the news article and the advice from the sports medicine physician at IU Health emphasize getting a good mix of aerobic exercise and strength training.
Right.
Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise each week.
Got it.
And remember that vitamin D we talked about plays a role in immunity and mood regulation, so those food choices are really important.
Okay. So 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week.
Right.
Totally doable.
Yeah.
I like how they highlight the importance of both cardio and strength training. It's not just about burning calories. It's about building overall strength and endurance.
Exactly.
But one thing I always struggle with in the winter is finding the time to work out when it gets dark so early.
Yeah.
Do the sources offer any advice on that?
It's interesting. All three sources actually agree on making the most of daylight hours whenever possible.
Okay.
They suggest scheduling outdoor activities, if you can, between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when it's generally the warmest and brightest.
Right.
And if you do have to exercise outdoors when it's darker, prioritize safety, reflective gear, and well-lit areas.
You're so right. It's like the sun sets at like 3 in the afternoon these days.
Yeah.
But you're saying even a short burst of activity during those peak daylight hours can make a difference.
Absolutely. And if going outside just isn't happening, indoor workouts are going to become your best friend.
Okay.
Which brings us to a point all three sources emphasize. Layering.
Okay. Let's talk about layering.
It might sound basic, but there's a real strategy to it.
Okay.
They break it down into 3 main layers: base, middle, and outer.
Okay. I will admit I have been guilty of what I like to call the cotton crime.
Right?
That damp, clingy feeling, not fun when you're working out.
Not at all.
So, give me the breakdown. What are we talking about here?
Okay, so cotton is a no-go. The sources are very clear about that.
Okay.
It traps moisture and can actually make you colder. What's fascinating about the base layer is it's all about these moisture-wicking fabrics that pull the sweat away from your body.
Okay.
This keeps you dry and prevents chills. We're talking technical fabrics, not your old college sweatshirt.
Got it. Ditch the cotton.
Yes,
So what about the middle layer? Is that where the real warmth comes in?
exactly. Think fleece or a similar material.
Okay.
Provides insulation, traps feet effectively, but isn't too bulky.
Okay.
It's all about that balance of warmth and breathability.
So cozy and functional. I like it.
Exactly.
And then what about the outer layer, the final piece of the puzzle?
This is your shield against the elements.
Okay.
It needs to be both waterproof and breathable.
Mhm.
Protect you from wind, snow, rain, while still allowing sweat to escape.
Got it.
Think of it as your armor against those harsh winter conditions.
Okay, so we've got our winter workout wardrobe all set.
Mm-hmm.
But before you step out into that crisp air, there's a crucial step that the sources emphasize, and that is warming up properly.
You're so right. It's always important to warm up, but in winter it takes on a whole new level of importance. And the sources are very specific about doing this indoors before you head out.
So we're not jumping straight into a run in freezing temperatures.
No, no, no.
What do they recommend?
They suggest spending a good 10 to 15 minutes doing dynamic stretches and exercises inside.
Okay.
Things like arm circles, jumping jacks, marching in place.
Mm-hmm.
This gets your blood flowing and gradually raises your core temperature. And here's why that's so important. Those dynamic stretches, things like arm circles and leg swings, they actually help generate heat within the muscles, making them more pliable and less prone to injury in the cold.
So it's about easing your body into the cold rather than shocking it.
Exactly.
I feel like I've been doing winter workouts all wrong.
Well, we're all learning here. That's what's great about these deep dives. We get to gather all these expert insights.
That's right. We've covered the basics, setting up a home workout space, smart layering strategies, and the importance of warming up properly.
Right.
But we've only just scratched the surface of our winter fitness plan.
Exactly. There's so much more to explore. The exciting world of winter sports, how to protect those vulnerable extremities, and even how to stay hydrated when it's cold outside.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's jump in. So we've got the foundation for staying active indoors, but what about embracing the unique opportunities that winter brings?
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that really stood out to me was the 12 winter workout tips blog posts, like enthusiasm for winter sports.
Yes. I've always been curious about winter sports, but I haven't really taken the plunge. What kind of activities are we talking about?
They highlight things like snowshoeing, ice skating, cross-country skiing.
Okay.
What's great is that they all offer like fantastic cardio workouts and engage different muscle groups than our typical routines.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned winter hiking.
Yeah.
And that honestly sounds kind of intimidating to me.
Yeah.
What if I'm not an experienced hiker? Do the sources address that at all?
Absolutely. The sources emphasize starting with well-maintained trails and shorter distances, gradually increase as you get more comfortable. They also stress the importance of researching weather conditions and never hiking alone, and always carry emergency supplies and navigation tools.
That makes me feel a lot better. I can definitely see the appeal of exploring a snowy landscape. It seems like a great way to appreciate the beauty of winter while getting a great workout.
Exactly. And that's a big part of what the sources emphasize, like making winter fitness enjoyable.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be something you look forward to.
Okay, so we're layering up, we're warming up, maybe even trying some new winter sports. What other winter workout wisdom did you uncover in the sources?
One thing they all stressed was the importance of protecting our extremities. Hands, feet, ears, and nose.
Right.
They're particularly vulnerable to the cold.
That's a good point. I've definitely experienced the misery of numb fingers and toes during a winter workout.
Oh, yeah.
What do the sources recommend for keeping those areas warm and protected?
They really emphasize investing in, quality winter gear. So for our feet, moisture-wicking socks and waterproof boots are essential.
Makes sense. Nothing ruins a workout faster than cold, wet feet.
No. And for our hands, they recommend insulated gloves.
Okay.
And for our ears and face, a hat or a headband, and then a neck gaiter for those really frigid days.
Okay. What about those little hand and toe warmers? Are those worth considering?
Absolutely. They can be lifesavers, especially if you're spending, a significant amount of time outdoors in very cold temperatures.
Okay. So we're dressed for success from head to toe.
Yes.
But something I've always wondered about is hydration in the winter. Do we still need to be as diligent about drinking water when it's cold out?
It's a great question, and it's something the sources address directly.
Okay.
You might feel less thirsty in the winter, but our bodies still need adequate hydration, especially during exercise.
Okay.
In fact, cold weather can actually increase the risk of dehydration because we're losing more moisture through our breath.
Wow, I never thought about that. So even though we might not feel as parched, we need to be even more mindful about drinking water. What kind of tips do they offer for staying hydrated in the cold?
The sports medicine physician at IU Health really drove home the point that we need to drink water before, during, and after exercise,
Okay.
just like we would in warmer weather. They also had this interesting suggestion. Consider warm beverages for pre-workout hydration.
Well, that sounds cozy.
Right,
I've
yeah.
definitely been known to sip on some hot tea before a workout.
Exactly. Herbal tea, warm water with lemon, even broth, they all contribute to your hydration goals. And don't forget an insulated water bottle to prevent your drink from freezing during those outdoor workouts.
Okay, good tips. So we're layering up, we're warming up, we're staying hydrated, maybe even trying out some winter sports. It sounds like we're well on our way to becoming winter workout pros.
Yeah.
Anything else we should keep in mind?
You know, one key point that all three sources emphasize is the importance of listening to our bodies,
Okay.
perhaps even more so in winter.
Okay, that's interesting. What do they mean by that, and why is it particularly important in colder temperatures?
Well, the sources point out that cold weather can actually mask fatigue and dehydration.
Okay.
We might not feel those signals as strongly as we would in warmer conditions.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like
Yeah.
our internal thermometer is a bit off when it's freezing outside.
Right.
So we need to pay extra attention to any signs of fatigue, muscle soreness, dizziness, not push ourselves beyond our limits.
Exactly. It's okay to scale back or modify workouts as needed. There's no shame in listening to your body and prioritizing safety and well-being.
Right.
And speaking of safety, the sources also highlight the importance of being mindful of surfaces in winter.
Ah, yes, the dreaded ice and snow.
Yes.
I've definitely had a few close calls on slippery sidewalks. What kind of advice do they offer for staying safe on those slick surfaces?
They emphasize wearing appropriate footwear with good grip.
Okay.
Leave those smooth-soled sneakers at home when it's icy out. They also recommend choosing well-lit areas for outdoor workouts, especially in low-light conditions.
Good points. It's easy to forget about those potential hazards when you're focused on your workout. What about indoor workouts? Any safety considerations there?
One of the key insights from the blog post is to make sure that your indoor workout area has non-slip surfaces.
Okay.
And to use gym mats for extra safety, especially when using equipment. It's all about minimizing the risk of slips and falls, regardless of where you're working out.
Okay. So we're listening to our bodies. We're being mindful of surfaces. It seems like we're covering all of our bases for safe and effective winter workouts.
Yeah.
But what about those days when, even with all the motivation in the world, we just can't seem to drag ourselves out of the house?
Well, that's where the world of online fitness comes in.
Yeah.
And it's something both the news article and the blog post highlight as a fantastic resource for winter fitness.
Yeah, online fitness has definitely been a game changer for me, especially during the colder months. It's so convenient to be able to work out from home. What kind of online fitness options do the sources mention?
They point out the abundance of choices available, everything from live and recorded sessions to group or personal training. There's truly something for everyone, no matter your fitness level or preferences. And a lot of platforms offer free trials or introductory rates, so you can really explore and find what works best for you.
Yeah, I love that there's so many options, and it's great that many programs require little to no equipment. What types of workouts are they talking about?
You can find everything from high-intensity interval training, which can be especially effective in winter because it's, time efficient and can be done indoors, to yoga, to strength training, all from the comfort of your living room.
I love that. I've definitely found that having a structured online program keeps me way more accountable.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's so tempting to just curl up on the couch. It's like having a virtual workout buddy.
Exactly. Speaking of finding motivation in unexpected places, one of the sources highlighted an activity I think is worth exploring further, and that's winter hiking.
Okay, yeah. We talked about winter hiking earlier, but I'm curious to hear more about the benefits.
One of the most interesting points was that winter hiking actually burns more calories than traditional hiking because your body has to work harder to maintain its temperature and balance in the snow.
So it's like getting a bonus workout.
Exactly.
But we already covered some safety tips for winter hiking. What else should we know?
The news article, How to Stay Fit During Winter, emphasized choosing well-maintained trails and really doing your research on weather conditions before heading out.
Okay.
It's also important to, start with shorter trails and gradually increase the distance as you get more comfortable with with winter hiking.
Right.
And of course, never hike alone. Always carry those emergency supplies.
Great reminders. It's so important to be prepared and prioritize safety, especially when venturing out in winter conditions.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground today. Everything from setting up a home workout space to layering strategies to staying hydrated and even exploring the world of winter sports and online fitness. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your overall thoughts on what we've uncovered.
Yeah. What really strikes me is how much our mindset plays a role in winter fitness.
Yeah.
It's easy to think of winter as a time to hibernate, let our fitness routine slide. But these sources have given us a completely different perspective.
Right.
It's about embracing the unique opportunities and challenges that winter brings and finding ways to make fitness enjoyable and sustainable.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's not about, forcing ourselves to do something we dread. It's about finding activities that energize us and make us feel good, even when it's, cold and bleak outside. And with all these tips and strategies we've gathered from these sources, I feel like we've got like a toolkit, right?
Yes.
To make winter fitness a success. But before we wrap up, is there anything else that stood out to you from these sources?
Yeah, what really struck me was a point in the news article, How to Stay Fit During Winter, about using the season to actually build healthy habits
Mm-hmm.
that extend, beyond the colder months.
That's a great point. It's like using winter as a training ground
Ex
for a healthier lifestyle year round. So we're not just like surviving the season, we're actually using it to thrive.
Exactly. By creating, a structured approach to winter fitness, we're setting ourselves up for success, not just during the colder months, but, for the long haul. Right. It's about building that foundation of healthy habits that we can carry with us through any season. And it's not just about, physical health. It's about mental well-being. It's about resilience.
Yeah.
It's even about that sense of adventure, like we talked about with winter sports.
Right.
So it's like a holistic approach to wellness.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about finding what works for you and making it a sustainable part of your life.
Well said.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge. What's one thing you can commit to doing today
Ooh, good question.
to kickstart your winter fitness journey?
I mean, it could be as simple as clearing out a corner of your living room, right?
Yeah.
To create that dedicated workout space. Or maybe researching local snowshoeing trails.
Yeah.
Or even just, filling up a big water bottle right now and committing to staying hydrated throughout the day.
Yeah, I love those suggestions.
Yeah.
The key is to take that first step. No matter how small it might seem, every step we take towards a healthier, more active lifestyle is a victory.
Absolutely. It's about progress, not perfection.
Well said.
By embracing the opportunities of winter, we can emerge from the season feeling, stronger, healthier, and more empowered than ever before.
That's a fantastic note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into winter fitness.
Yeah.
We hope you feel inspired and ready to take on the season with energy and enthusiasm.
Yes. Until next time, stay warm, stay active, and keep exploring.
We'll see you next time.